Hi everyone, glad to be back. I haven't had much time to resin art, unfortunately, because my kids are still home and it doesn't look like they're going back to school at all for the moment. So I'm homeschooling and playing dinner lady most of the day, but I did find a moment to play around in my art studio, and I was messing around with stones and some pre-made coasters that I've actually made a couple of tutorials back, and then this idea came to mind. So I'm using two of these slice coasters, and I fitted them into this tray I bought from my local home deco store a while back, well before confinement. But just so that they fit into the corners there, I'm just going to sand down the edges of them, and it doesn't need very much. And these blocks are very useful to have around when you're a resin artist, especially for filing down edges at the end of curing times. So I'm just snugly fitting them in there. Doing the other side now, and I'll keep doing this until it fits in. And just be careful not to scratch the top of the coaster. So there you can see it fits in really nicely. It's slightly rounded on the edge there. And this is the little box of treats that I got from Laura's Art Corner. And these are bronze fireglass. She gave two to me. She gave me a polar ice one, which is gorgeous. Polar ice fireglass. And there's all those lovely other glitters that I got. And I'm just trying to figure out which ones would go well with the coasters. So I'd like to create a sort of a river table. And if you've seen any of those river tables, totally obsessed. I watch so many of those videos on YouTube. It's embarrassing. But they're these tables made out of wood, and then in the middle of them runs a river of resin. And they're just gorgeous. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And this is my version. It's my very quick version. So I'm placing these stones down, and you can see that these fireglass have a mirrored side, and then they have the actual stone side, the glass side. So I'm going to do a mix of them. I mostly want the non-mirrored side to be facing upwards. I'll just fiddle around with them and turn some upside down and turn some up. And that shiny mirrored side really does shine and glisten in the light, so it's lovely. It's lovely to have a few of those. Best way I find to do these is just to throw them all in and then give it a little shake, and that will usually flatten them. You can put as many as you want. I wanted them quite filled up to the top. I didn't want any spaces in between. So this is a really quick project you can do if you haven't got much supplies at the moment, and I know it's difficult to get some, but this is a really quick project to do, and it's really fun, and it's very original. And you can see those lovely glass bits shining in the sun there. Make sure it's all flat and that there's no sharp edges or anything sticking out too much. You can do that by touch. And then I'm going to use a touch of Suncatcher, which is like a little gold pigment, really a little bit. It will give just a tiny glimmer in the light, and that's into clear resin there. Give it a good old mix. There you can see it, just a little a glistening of that lovely gold. And then I'm going to pour it in very gently. And I'm doing it in two parts. I'm going to do one layer, let this dry, and then another layer. And the reason I'm doing this is because from a test piece I did previously, there's quite a lot of air bubbles that got caught up underneath those stones. And in case I need to file anything down or sand anything down, I would rather not waste too much resin and do it in two parts. So I'm going to leave that just for a few minutes, just to settle inside, and then I'm going to cover the actual coasters. I find these little spatulas, they're cooking spatulas really, they're for the kitchen, but they're very useful. These are mini ones, I found them on Amazon, so obviously depending on your country, just have a little search for these mini silicone spatulas. And you can actually crack off at the end of, once they're cured, you can actually crack off the resin and reuse them. So there you go, that's that layer there. I'll just give it a couple of seconds to make sure any air bubbles pop back up. And now I'm going to add some more. This is probably about 5 minutes that's gone by. Now I'm not going to cover it completely. As I said, I will be doing another coat, a final top clear coat. So this won't be 100% flat with resin, and it doesn't matter because the clear final coat will level it all out. But it is worth going slowly with this resin when you apply it, just to make sure that you're not moving the stones too much. And make sure you get all into the edges. Give it a final zap. You can use a heat gun or you can use a torch, whichever you prefer. Just don't overdo it when it comes to resin, because you can burn it with heat. It will actually start to smoke and not smell very nice. So this is the next day and it's fully cured, and I decided to add one of my little crystal clusters from that mold that I bought, and I'll put the information down in the link below. And I just put a little cluster in the middle. I did this maybe about 2 hours after it had started to cure, so it was still a little tacky, and I kind of just like slowly pushed it in and left it. So this still doesn't have the clear top coat of resin. I will be doing that, and if you check out my Instagram account, I'll just put a quick video of that on there, so when I find the time to do that. So you can see how cute this little tray has come out. I really love it. I've actually got 2 or 3 sizes. I've got a little bigger size, and they both work really well. Just it'll be a little bit bigger of a river in the middle, and that can be fun, and I will hopefully be doing another tutorial on that in the future. So hope you've enjoyed this. Short and sweet. I wish you all well. Have a great week and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.